This podcast contains explicit language.
And spoilers. Only if you suck.
This is Dave.
And this is Carlos in the new and improved Two Fat Guys Talk Games, where we have wrapped ourselves in bandages and increased our torso size 7-fold. Yes.
So this is
Episode 42.
or Map 2, Episode 2.
You did it wrong. It's Episode 2, Map 2.
Very well.
The one with all the imps.
In the dungeons. They've been given lots of candy.
No, I mean Doom 1, Episode 2.
I get
Map
that.
2. The crates and the imps.
I get that.
Very imp-heavy level.
Now you ruined it.
I know. I'm sorry. You know what else is ruined? The word candy.
Holy fuck.
So, what is your feeling on a company's ability to trademark a single word? And not a made-up word like Dissidia or
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
something like that. But an actual word that has existed in the language for a long time.
I think it's going to be fought and won. Trademarking the word candy is like trademarking the word gum. Or shit. Sorry, Square has that one.
Well, yeah, that's right. You can't have Shit Fantasy 7. They will sue the shit out of you.
Yes, they will. Frankly, I find it absolutely disgusting. Just as their trademark on the word Sega.
Now,
Actually, no, that one's not a trademark, is it? That one's they're fighting it that people could
Well, that's the
make
thing.
the mistake between...
That's kind of what trademarks do. Brands do it to preserve the integrity of their brand. But let's compare this to other examples of silliness in trademarking and whatnot. Like the song Happy Birthday, for instance, which is owned by, I think, Warner Brothers. Is that right? We delved into this in the one article.
Yeah. It was a card company, wasn't it?
Yeah, originally some greeting card company, I think, and then Warner Brothers took it over, and they still insist they have the rights to this song. So, I mean, anyone who sings it is due to pay royalties to this fucking company. Or what about McDonald's? If you try to name anything McAnything, they will go after you. They will go after you with a vengeance because you're diluting their Mick brand.
I'm thinking more to keep it within our own environment, though. Let's look at when Bethesda's lawyers went after Mojang for his Scrolls game when they were trying to say that it was going to dilute the Elder Scrolls trademark. Just because a game has scrolls in it does not mean that your trademark is being challenged or that they're going to make a mistake between games. And this candy trademark with the Sega trademark attached to it is bullshit. It needs to be fought and shut down.
Yeah, single words like that, I agree completely. Single words being trademarked where that word exists in language, that is problematic because you can basically fight anyone who wants to use that word at any point in their title. There's a popular variant Xbox 360 controller type called the Rock Candy controller. It's one company makes, I think it's PDP. Are they next? Because this candy trademark applies to gaming and clothing. So, can they not name their controllers Rock Candy because people think it's related to Candy Crush?
And they're not doing any challenges right now based on the word candy. It's specifically Sega. Now,
I heard that people with candy in their games actually have been targeted. Like, the legal department of this company, whose name I completely forget, has been actually targeting companies and saying, hey, you're infringing on our trademark, you're diluting our brand, people might get confused and think you're us, stop using the word candy.
See, the one I'm hearing news about it is specifically the Saga one.
Saga is also a big one. What about Saga Frontier?
Well, and that's just what I was going to reference is I want to see now Squaresoft bring out a new Saga Frontier game and have these little shits try and challenge them.
The problem is these shits aren't so little.
Candy Crush, in comparison to, the Bethesdas, the Square Enixes.
What is this
everything
company
else.
that's doing the candy thing? We should probably mention that and sound like a professional podcast. Is it Zynga?
They're the guys behind Candy Crush.
Is it Zynga?
No.
Hang on.
Zynga has never made anything that creative.
The company King. King.com.
Okay. Well, they're definitely kings of being assholes right now.
They are definitely the kings of all assholes.
But yeah, no, these trademarks need to stop.
I think it's okay to trademark a combination of words in
Final Fantasy.
in sequence. Yeah, Final
the
Fantasy.
Saga Frontier.
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush.
That's
yes.
fine.
But to all of a sudden say you can't use the word candy or saga in your games because people are going to reference a shitty combined 3 to 5 pieces of candy to do a game with some...
I have no idea what you just said, but I'm assuming your outrage is...
Well, Candy Crush is really nothing more than a new version of Connect 3 or Connect 5. But you earn experience and you go up in levels and other crap.
Oh, God. Speaking of...
It's bedazzled.
Speaking of free-to-play mobile-type games...
Oh, God. Okay.
So here's the thing. Okay, the mobile market is like any other gaming market.
That's sucky.
No, it's like any other gaming market. There are gems, and then there's vast piles of shit.
Yep.
There are some good games on mobile, but most of them are shitty. Like any other console, like any other system in any era for any real... in the context of anything.
I don't know. There's a lot more mobile games than there have been on... I think there's been more mobile games put out than in all the consoles since.
Sure, but I'm sure if you looked at the... And again, this is subjective. If you look roughly at the percentage of which ones are worth playing and which ones are garbage, you'd probably get something similar. People like to praise the NES and the SNES, but these systems had tons of crap. Because everyone made generic platform clone games for them, right?
Like the days of the Atari.
Just like how everyone makes generic FPS clones today. And everyone wants to get into the free-to-play market in mobile, right? There's always a genre people want to rip off. And I think the issue's this. The villainous type of game is the free-to-play game where, as I described to my dad, who was curious about this but isn't really a gamer, Mario gets hit, dies, and you have to wait 8 hours to try again, or you can pay some money to get another life and try the level again. You want a mushroom? Well, you can't just find one. You have to earn experience and waste time to buy a mushroom from the shop, or buy some virtual currency to buy that mushroom. It's gaming designed in a way to purely benefit a publisher by scrooging you out of your money. It's not convenient. It's not like in World of Warcraft or in Guild Wars 2 where you can buy cosmetic upgrades, or you can even buy leveled up characters, but you could still just get that on your own without paying the extra money. It's because World of Warcraft is going to do that level 90 thing as a paid feature from now on. It's not like that. It's not like even Tales of Vesperia, which was terrible, but there you could buy extra money from Xbox Live Marketplace, or you could just grind it out yourself. Totally fine. But when you need to pay to overcome time barriers, and the game is designed in such a way that things are kept from you for no real intuitively sound reason, it's flawed. And the free-to-play system does it the way that Smash Brothers does it, where you can't play with all the characters until you unlock them all, because some dev decided that's just how it's done. And somebody decided, you know what we could do? We could put all those characters behind money gates or time gates.
You've got the right idea there, but I played a wide variety of different free-to-play iOS games, and I've done the continuous jumping ones, things like Zombie or Temple Rush, Zombie Rush, Jumpman, things like that, or Jetpack Jump Ride. But
Jetpack Joyride.
Thank you.
Which I liked until I figured out that you could slot machine your way to a better run or buy a better run. Then I was like, fuck this game.
See, I never agreed with you on that point, because I never wanted to use those. Whenever I got them, I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah, but the rankings don't differentiate.
The rankings have been broken since the beginning anyway, so I never cared.
That's even more reason to not care for the game.
Anyway, in the free-to-play genre, you have your games like that where you put the time in, you can unlock everything. You can do whatever the hell you want. You could buy stuff to increase things, but you don't have to. It's just sort of, how much you enjoy the game really defines on how far you're going to get, or how much money you want to sink into it. Then there's other games like the latest EA massacre, Dungeon Keeper, which fuck them for this cash-in of bullshit, especially since I loved Dungeon Keeper growing up. But it is of the free-to-play variety where it does have those areas where unless you pay, you're going to be waiting, 8-10 hours to do something. It's no longer a game. It is a time wall.
Yeah, and that's messed up. I can't stand that gaming has become this thing where we can be held hostage by this, where they can, well, you didn't pay an initial price, so time wall.
Yeah, and I'm playing the Death Star Tiny Tower, if that's the right title to it. That's the Star Wars one.
I thought it was called Star Wars Tiny Death Star.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I fire it up every now and then and play it, but I have not sunk $1 into this game. It's taking me longer to do stuff. My elevator's slower. I may not have as many characters throughout things, and it may be taking me longer to do stuff, but I can play it. It's playable. Whereas Dungeon Keeper or the iOS any version of that Star Trek free-to-play game not too long ago, they're basically unplayable without sinking in money.
Yeah, the one Angry Joe reviewed, and what was it, Star Trek Voxels or Trexels or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. And these deliberate cash-ins are a bit of a problem. Like, the upcoming WoW pay for level 90 thing. You don't have to use it. Some people like leveling, and some people don't give a fuck. And this option will appease both. Despite the outcries of people saying it'll make it too easy to get to 90. Fuck off. It's a little problematic that gaming has become this thing where a dev can just hold us hostage with a time wall. I despise that. If you're going to release your game free, fine. If you're going to release the game under the pretext that there's something I need to do in the game, or I can pay real money to avoid having to do that thing, that's fine too. The time wall is the real kick in the nuts, because I could be playing this now, but I can't.
Yeah.
For no other reason other than some config file says I can't continue playing. And that is nonsense. Like, it's irritating that when I play A Link Between Worlds for over 45 minutes, every time I save, the game's like, you've been playing a while, why don't you take a break? And then I say, fuck you to the 3DS, throw it at a wall, and pick it right back up and keep playing, because that thing is indestructible. That's annoying, but Nintendo isn't outright cutting me off.
No.
They did it back in Earthbound, I think. They'll force you to save after a certain amount of time.
Yes.
Which is stupid, because they're not my dad. They're not my real dad. It is problematic, I think. It is the ultimate slap in my face. I will play a game for as much as and little as I want. And any dev that deems necessary to stop me from doing so is not a real game dev, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, I would much rather pay, $10 for a game and be able to play as much as I want and not have these hours upon hours of waiting for stuff than to have to wait 20 hours for my life bar to rebuild. I'm also going to call out relaunches of games. Like, they recently launched the first Tales game on iOS.
Tales of Fantasia?
Yeah.
Huh.
But it sucks. Because
it sucked originally. Don't tell anyone, though. It's a Tri-Ace game, so of course it sucked.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Tri-Ace racist bastard.
Yeah, racist.
You are.
You're Tri-Acist.
Yes, there we go. Carlos the Tri-Acist.
The Tri-Acist.
No, it sucks because they went the free play route. To continue throughout the game, to build the weapons and everything else that you have to normally in the game, you have to buy materials now.
Goody.
Oh yeah, it's just Oh,
This has been a problem in gaming for a while, and in a way this is just a logical extension of things that have always been happening this way. I really wanted to like Blur, but they slapped an experience bar on it. And content that should
I
have
didn't
been...
mind that.
That's because you're wrong. Content that should have been unlocked and ready to go was now behind this wall that I had to repeatedly play for. And it begs the question, if your game is good enough to play, why aren't you confident in that? Why do you as a dev have to go, no, we're not sure people are going to keep playing our piece of shit game, and this wasn't a piece of shit, so we have to force them to keep playing or they'll never have a statistically better car. It is nonsensical. This is just an extension of that. It's a dev going, well, this is a perfectly functional game, let's chop it up into little bits and put it behind time and pay gates.
See, I don't quite agree with you on that point. As much as in a number of games, I don't like the experience bar. The experience bar gave you little power-ups, little things you could do starting off. Again, Tiny Death Star. I build a floor, it's going to take 18 real hours.
Yes, but the point in Tiny Death Star is it's kind of like a city-building sim game. The idea there is the game is that you are building things and that you are managing this. The idea in Blur or in Halo 4 is that you are competing, is that you are meant to find out which is the better player. Now, in a city builder game, it is totally fine for a game like Civilization or for Tiny Death Star or whatever to go, okay, you are not going to have access to everything right away. You have to build up to that because that's the point. You have to manage this to play this game in your desired way. That's the point of the game. The point of Blur is to win the race.
Okay, but I'm going to turn this back around now on Blur. Blur would have succeeded a little bit better if their system had worked just a tad bit better as far as the matchups. Because that whole system still would have worked if their plus or minus rank had worked in their matchups. Because, yes, you're saying you don't have access to everything right off the bat. Okay, cool, you're not down with that, whatever. However, in this case, if you were level 5, you're supposed to match up with as high as level 8, which means their power-ups are not crazy above you, or as low as level 3, so you're not crazy above them.
I hate that anyone's above anyone in a competitive racer. I mean, in pre-Halo 4 Halo games, yeah, there was an online ranking, but that was based purely on your skill. That was the true skill system trying to rank you against similarly skilled opponents. There was no ranking based on time, because the best player in the world might be able to pick up the game and just be awesome, and the worst player might play for years and somehow they're a higher level.
But remember, the experience bar was based on how well you did in the race. Dodging things, hitting guys, getting your power-ups and using them in an effective way or even in a creative way. That affected the experience you were getting. My point here is that their ranking system didn't work. You had level 3 guys going against level 45 guys who there was no chance in hell of defeating.
There was no need for the ranking system.
I didn't mind it.
But it wasn't needed. That's the thing. You might not have minded it, but it is still fundamentally flawed.
I don't mind unlocking things.
It's the equivalent of, at the World Cup, Brazil has rocket cleats because they've won more World Cups than another team. Let's give Brazil rocket cleats and an extra player on the field.
They'd still drop.
They'd still dive like a motherfucker, but diving's a whole other ballpark of a whole other rules hiccup. The point is, no, everyone has the same equipment. Not everyone has the same skill, but everyone has the same equipment, and it's what you do with that equipment you are given. And Blur could have easily been that. Even Mario Kart, for all their unlockable racers, don't make you level any of them up, and I cannot believe I'm defending Nintendo here.
Okay, so by that regard, do you think less of Sonic All-Stars Racing?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't like the fact that, you can unlock different configurations for the cars.
Yeah.
That's okay. I hate the fact that you have to unlock them. I don't like unlockables in competitive games. I just do not. I never will, and I never will see the point, and I'll always think they're wrong. That said, that's not terribly criminal, because as far as I know, those configurations are just kind of like different isms for your character. It's no different than in Street Fighter Alpha 3, you could pick A, X, or V ism. Or in CVS2, where you could pick one of 6 groups, right? In a way, those configurations are just groups for the characters. That's fine. I got no issue with that. I have a problem with the whole slot machine, like you can slot machine your way to something better to start the race with. I have a little bit of an issue with that. In fact, I have a huge issue with that. And one could argue that in Mario Kart, the person second or less is getting access to better items. And that's that's its own little rules hiccup. But the point of the matter is that it's not the person who sank the most time and or money. And that's kind of my issue. Some games are about building the experience bar, and some games are about you kind of have to unlock your way through the world, and that's kind of the point. The game is themed around that. MMOs do this. Any kind of RPG does this. Any kind of city or tower builder is about that. Any kind of management type game like Populous is about that. We don't need these experience bars in our FPSs, and that's why Call of Duty is problematic, because they introduced that concept. We don't need that in our racers. We don't need that anywhere it's not welcome. We certainly don't need it in our fighting games. That's where I start to go, no, fuck this, man. I want equal ground, and I want the skillful player to level up in their own mind and in their own ability sets.
Well, isn't that why the Street Fighter Cross Tekken didn't do as well?
Well, Street Fighter Cross Tekken had a bunch of issues to it. The gem system, the fact that it was insisted upon and not a fun little side mode like Ultimate Marvel 3's Heroes versus Heralds mode, where you could level up your guy with cards, but that was a fun little side mode. It wasn't the main game, right? They insisted on the gems for the main game. And you could buy better gems, and there were gems that were just way better for any given purpose than another gem. And that was already problematic, because that was like configuring your character, and the devs coming out and saying this solves the problem of mirror matches, which isn't a problem. It's a solution to a problem nobody asked for. The fact that the game came out boring as shit to watch and only got patched to be somewhat exciting later is a bit of an issue too. There are some questionable design choices, like it had chain combos, which games should have, but in order to chain to certain things, you had to link certain moves. Just like Street Fighter 4, it's a problem there as well. There were a lot of things that contributed to that game's downfall. I shat on it a lot. I kind of regretted shitting on it as much as I did, because there are a lot of little niche games I like that I would hate people shitting on. But I mean, I don't like to see that in fighters. I hate to see it. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with with trying to shoehorn an experience bar into every game just to forcefully pad it out.
Extend the lifetime of the game. Speaking of shitting on things, and going back to Dungeon Keeper for a moment.
Back to Dungeon Keeper.
Because it's my current little pet peeve. EA is also under fire for valid reason. In the game, they ask you to give it a rating of 1 to 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose the 1 to 4, you are prompted to send them an email or a message telling them why you don't like the game, etc. Whereas if you do 5, it posts it directly to the Google Apps page or Google Play as a fantastic rating. The 1 to 4s never make it there.
Of course they don't.
They go into email hell. Or is it it's either 1 to 4 or 1 to 3, and then 4 and 5 go to the Play, because I think it's like 4.3 right on there right now. But the EA's justification on why this is a good thing is how great ratings they're getting and how so few people are shitting on their game.
Well, of course, when you are, just like how the Republican Party in the United States changed voter ID laws to make it more likely that voters would vote for them, this is what we call underhanded deviousness. This is what we call a company manipulating the system so that the people who would rightfully speak out against their product's flaws never see the light of day. And I was like, yeah, people should be able to just go to the Play Store and rate it, which they can. You can go directly to Play. You don't have to rate it through an app. But the fact that EA is doing this, there should be. I would hope Google has rules that says your app can't do this. Your app cannot prevent or try to quelch a bad rating.
Yeah, I don't think that's happened. I think that may have been the Android version that specifically does that. Now that I think about it.
Well, it could be that. I'm not like Google is a little more liberal on their app rules. This is a good and a bad thing. Part of why I switched to Android is because of I took the good with the bad. I took the extra freedom knowing that it would have prices like this, but this should be a rule. No app should be allowed to ever do that to you. And EA pisses me off, man, because there are a lot of things. I'd love to like EA. They spoke out against anti-gay bigots when they were like, "Don't put gay relationships in Star Wars, the Star Wars MMO." But now they do shit like this, and they prevent bad ratings from going out to people, right? Like they are the Michael Scott of video game companies. They piss me off one day, and they make me cheer for them the next.
Speaking of hating and loving, Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom. So, my understanding, after having read many articles about this, is that Sonic Boom, the redesign, the reinvention, it's kind of like an alternate canon.
Side story, they're calling it.
Well, it's an alternate canon. It's an alternate this is a different Sonic and a different Tails. And let's be honest, there are a lot of Sonic canons. There's the Sega Sonic, Carefree Sonic and Buddies canon. There's the Sonic comic canon from the Archie comics, which had its own cartoon, which got canceled after 2 seasons, and the cartoon was questionable. The comic has a lot of good and bad in it. A little side note here, I was telling this to occasional guests of the show, Poe and Kiki, is that I imagine that the comic Sonic probably thinks that the game Sonic is an asshole. The comic Sonic had to be a responsible group team leader and father to people, whereas the game Sonic was just a carefree guy who just occasionally did the right thing because he was in the area.
Yeah.
Now, this new American Western Sonic canon is a similar Sonic. If you see the preview of the cartoon they showed, he's very protective of Tails, very much working with his team, his buddies, right? Yeah. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with another Sonic canon. I always argue that, anytime an anime OVA comes out, or OAV or whatever you call it, that's not in canon. People shit on it for not being in canon. And I think to myself, no, good. Fuck, canon is sometimes retarded. Let's see a what-if story. American comics do this all the time. How many different Supermen are there? Hell, the animated movies started a new DC canon with Flashpoint, that this Justice League War continues.
Yeah.
We have to watch that, by the way. I see Sonic Boom, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna do a new kind of Western take on Sonic. Apparently this was a game first, and then they decided, you know what, we have material here to make a whole cartoon show out of it, let's do that. I'll get your thoughts on this in a second. I just wanted to point out 2 things, okay? The first is, how fucking crazy is it that ex-Naughty Dog guys are working on Sonic? How bizarre is that? That's what I've wanted forever! Next, you're gonna hear that Obsidian Entertainment got the rights to Final Fantasy VI or Chrono Trigger.
No.
Or that ID Software's Doom 4 is just a Chrono Trigger FPS or something.
No.
How weird, though. How weird that... I've been saying that forever. How mind-boggling is that to me? Do I own the rights to Square Enix now? I better check my email. The second thing I was going to say is, I've heard that they want this to be more about, more a Western release, the game and the cartoon. They don't plan on releasing it in Japan, and they have Sonic Team in Japan making their own Sonic games for Japan now, which I think is stupid. I think they should release both games worldwide, but that begs the question. They're going to keep Sonic Team Sonic games in Japan. Why does Sega hate Japan so much? Here to tell us why is Dave.
I actually think it's more... We are seeing right now a major split between West and East. Or just go Western devs and Japanese devs.
In what context?
Well, if you look at it, what's happening with Sega right now, even what's happening with... a while back, the YouTube issues where different Let's Play and reviewers were getting their videos canceled. The problem was never the Western parent companies. It was always the Japanese parent companies that were going against these. Squaresoft, for instance. The North American Squaresoft offices were like, hey, thanks for the publicity. The Japanese ones, shut that fucker down.
Are you saying that Sega of Japan, in an attempt to stop their own assholery, is purposely giving power to Sega of America to do this?
No, what I'm saying is that the North American companies, the European companies, are saying, thank you. The Japanese companies are once again becoming very insular and just saying, fuck off. So I'm not surprised to hear that Sega or Sonic Team, which is the Japanese arm of that group, is now going to make Japanese-only games. It doesn't surprise me because their games are not being appreciated in North America.
What's weird, though, is that Sonic games sell. They all sell. They all make money for Sega. Shitty or not. That's why we keep seeing them.
Yes, but they're not being jizzed upon by the audiences. They're not being like, oh, you're so... I'm waving my arms here as if I'm bowing, but...
Have you seen Sonic fans? Jizzing is all they do.
But not for the more recent ones.
Over Amy.
Anyway.
Speaking of furry porn.
No. So it doesn't surprise me that we're now seeing a split within Sega as far as Sonic. The Japanese devs are just basically saying, piss off, do your own thing, we'll do our own thing, probably do it better, and have a nice day.
I hope that Big Red Button's Sonic game is awesome, and I'm cautiously optimistic that ex-Naughty Dog guys know how to do this right.
The problem is...
hang on, I just finished this thought. I'm cautious. I hope that is an awesome game, and Sonic Team's game is so shitty that Japan fucking loses its shit, like they did when Gears of War 2 was not supposed to be released in Japan. I hope they're like, no, fuck this, give us their game. We don't want your garbage, Sonic Team. I just fell through the floor again, in your own building. Go on.
The big problem here for actually both sets is because Sega has become so partnered with Sonic, with the Nintendo line. I feel that this is going to weaken anything they try and do with the Sonic titles. Whether it be in Japan or in North America. The Sonic Boom game, already a Wii U exclusive.
Well, that's because they have a 3-game deal, and they've already used 2 of those 3 games.
But I'm hoping Sega...
If they're smart, they'll have the Sonic Team game be that exclusive and release Sonic Boom to other consoles.
But it's not. But the big... I hope when Sega was doing their contract on this, it was a timed exclusive. Because if it wasn't, these games are doomed to fail.
I seriously hope that, because... Yeah, I hope that too. I hope that it's not going to end up being Wii U exclusive. We will see. Now let's talk for a minute about the redesigns. Visually and aesthetically, what do you think of Knuckles?
I know why they made him a bigger style character. From an aesthetic, I don't like it as much as I like the original Knuckles look. For that fact, I don't like how Sonic's legs seem to be abnormally long.
Now, a friend of the show, Marcus, pointed out that fast runners in Realityville tend to have longer legs. He also pointed out that with the whole bandage issue, that there are some soccer players who tape up their cleats for better traction, which is why Knuckles has the wraps around his hands, which makes sense. But Sonic has them around his shoes.
You know something? That aesthetic never bugged me. I saw that and I automatically went past. I'm like, design choice. Moving on.
Yeah. I thought to myself, geez, look at all these bandages. They're like belts in an Arc Sys title.
Tails is Tails. And Amy is Amy.
Well, there's a guy...
They really didn't change the design at all.
There's a guy on Shoryuken who made a good point, because he didn't like the redesigns. And he and I talked about it. In what is becoming a very rare thing on Shoryuken General Discussion, we talked about it civilly. And he said He doesn't like that the idea is just that, okay, Knuckles is a big bruiser, let's just make him beefier. If we compare it to, and I brought up this comparison, say, the fact that both the original anime OAV of Sonic and eventually the Sonic comics kind of turned Knuckles into an explorer. And they give him the little hat, they give him the fucking fedora, which he looks cool in. And in a way that adds a lot more character to Knuckles, because he can still be the big beefy bruiser with the giant knuckles.
Yeah.
And the new show just kind of made him made him Hulk up. I'm okay with both ideas, but I kind of get the point. They tweaked each character in a way that's a little obvious. Like, Sonic's a fast guy, let's give him a scarf. Fast guys have scarves, right? Tails a mechanic, let's give him goggles and a wrench, because that's what mechanics have, right? And Amy is probably the biggest reinvention. This new Amy appears to be a lot more competent than old Amy. Very agile, very athletic.
Wouldn't take much.
To be fair, Amy grew on me a bit because I realized that beyond the whole "I love you, Sonic" garbage, she's actually a pretty cool character. She's courageous and strong, but also fearful and needs validation. And in a lot of ways, she's a better female character than a lot of female characters in fiction. If you took away her obsessing over one specific dude, you would have a really good character there.
I guess fair enough. I mean, ultimately, as long as they don't turn Knuckles into a Hulk-style retard, I'll be fine with it.
Well, in the Sonic Boom game preview, it showed them all running fast, so kudos to Big Red Button for remembering that all of Sonic's friends are just as fast as he is.
I guess I just mean that I don't want him to be caveman dialogue.
Me Knuckles, me punch
Exactly.
with bandage hands.
Exactly.
Knuckles have an advanced degree in astrophysics.
Speaking of needing...
Have lunch with Neil deGrasse Tyson, often.
Speaking of needing bandages for your hands, the Steam controller.
Oh, yes, the Steam controller. New layout with a D-pad and buttons in addition to the touchpads. I gotta tell you, this makes me slightly more excited for the Steam controller than I was before.
I think it gained 0.5% out of 100. It's now at 0.5%.
So you rated 0.5 out of 100.
Of my interest,
Or 0.05 out of 10.
0.1 pi.
0.1 pi? Or
Yeah.
just 0.1?
0.1 of
Because
pi.
anytime you add pi to the end of that, you're basically tripling the value of the number you just
0.1 of pi.
0.1 of pi.
Yes.
0.1. So 3%.
Not even.
Not even. So not 0.1 of pi.
Fine. 0.00.
Okay, back to the controller. So putting a D-pad and buttons on it, good idea. It lets the controller be compatible with a wider variety of games. I really like that. Otherwise, I think at this point, I'm not sure how much more I want to talk about it until I've had a chance to play it.
I am gonna say, looking at the pictures of the new controller, I still don't like it. Mainly because where they have the D-pad, it's way in.
That's kind of what the Xbox 360 controller does.
No, if you look at the picture, and I mean I've got the picture right here.
Oh yeah, it is way in, isn't it?
It is way the fuck in. I mean, where about the 3/4 point of the main toggles there is where it would start. It is like having it right here.
Dave is pointing it out on a real 360 controller. And they are pretty in, so...
I mean, those circle pads, from what I've seen people using on, would take up more than 2 to 3 times the size of your D-pad. Or no.
Your analog thumbstick?
Your analog thumbsticks on an Xbox 360 pad. So now you're looking at something like that for that, and you're now putting... I mean, it's going to be... From what I've seen of the controller, it's like that. It's about 1.5 times the size of a...
So maybe it should be more like a 3DS where the D-pad is below the pad.
Or, what you could do is you could move the D-pads from where they are on the inside to more on the outside, so they're more out here.
Yeah, kind of like what the 3DS does.
And by out here, I realize we're not on video. What I more mean is bring the D-pads, if you're looking at an Xbox 360 controller, literally move them about 1 or 2 inches to the lower left or lower right, so they're actually right on the grips.
You don't want them to be too on the grips, though, because then otherwise you're manipulating the trackpad and your palm is kind of hitting the D-pad. So they have to be careful how far out they would put it if they're going to even do that.
Okay, but look at. Let's say this was the pad.
I know what you're envisioning. I'm just saying that different people have different preferences and different people grip things in different ways.
That is true.
Now, that said, even with the D-pad where it is, this is kind of interesting, because with a proper D-pad, I could actually see playing an FPS at keyboard and mouse speeds with a D-pad and a trackpad together.
They really do need to reverse where their locations are.
Well, the Steam controller has gone through one major revision. Who's to say it won't go through even more?
Couple few now.
Who's to say it won't go through even more, right?
The touchpad's gone, which some people are complaining about.
Well, the middle touchpad is gone, yes. Probably a good idea. Maybe.
Yeah. Ultimately, I'm kind of indifferent about it. Really, the Steam controller is one of those controllers I'm going to have my hands on in a store playing something to really get a good feel for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can really say about the Steam controller. What have you been playing?
What have I been playing? I've been playing Diablo 3 because I love Diablo 3 so fucking much.
On console?
On console, yes. I've been playing on my NVIDIA Shield, playing the hell out of Sonic 1 and Sonic 2's extra cheat menu modes, because you can play with Sonic 3 items and shields and with Sonic with the Insta-Shield, so it infuses some new life to the games. Knuckles, surprisingly, does not make Sonic 1 a total cakewalk. Tails, surprisingly, doesn't make Sonic 1 a total cakewalk. Sonic 1 is still really frustrating. It's still a fairly difficult game, though not as difficult as the 8-bit version of Sonic. This week, the last couple weeks, I haven't been able to play as much as I wanted because I've been busy job hunting, writing, doing work on what a new series that Novril is developing, a new fighting game related series. We put the teaser out already. It's going to be called Air Dash Academy, and it is about fighting game theory in relation to Air Dash games, stuff like Guilty Gear, stuff like Melty Blood, and it's supposed to help people understand all fighting games better, Air Dashers or not. I'm actually really excited about it. Really excited to see the response to the first episode, which will go up at some point. It might be out by the time you listen to this. I'm really hoping that it will bring more people into the fighting game fold and encourage them to go out and play, because Novril, we don't always see eye to eye on things, but he really has a good eye for bringing people to the level of the games and through video, and I think this is a really good thing here. So that is a gaming related thing I've been doing, really. I've finally been putting out my DuckTales Remastered versus NES videos on. I've started that back up again. I recorded all the parts last year. I just didn't voice over all of them. I think I started the Rise of the Triad remake, but then something else came up, so I quit it before I even started playing it. But I definitely want to play Rise of the Triad remake. That company is doing a Duke Nukem 3D remake now, actually. Did you hear about this?
You better not be fucking with me.
No, go look it up right now.
I'll look it up after the podcast.
I'll look it up on my phone. Hang on.
Well, while you're looking that up, I've been playing a variety of different titles over different systems. I've played and finished Rock Band Beatles, which I got during one of EB Games' little sales for $5. That was a fun little romp. I'm playing Assassin's Creed 4, which is an amazing game when it comes to the ship combat and everything else. I've started playing both Pokemon Y as well as Bravely Default.
It was Interceptor Entertainment.
And yeah, that is what I've been doing.
Yeah, I've been playing. I've been playing through the. It's the button on the lower right of the phone. I've been playing the Bravely Default demo. Once I unlock all the stuff that the demo can unlock in the game, I'll get to the game proper. Yeah. Bravely Default. Good stuff.
What are you looking forward to?
Duke Nukem 3D remake by Interceptor Entertainment. Rack, that new Doom-esque
I've got
arcade
it.
FPS. Aces Wild made it out to Steam. I was playing the game when it was in beta, and I have
Thumbs down.
videos up to it. The guy you have a man crush on, Total Biscuit, has a video of what the fuck is Aces Wild video up. And
Great.
he apparently really likes it. Because
Now I gotta stop watching him.
because he has taste, Dave. See, people who like games like Aces Wild. Because it is like a character action game in 2D. It is like Final Fight, but you can fly and it will wake you up more than coffee does.
You do realize that my seemingly hatred for Aces Wild is just to piss you off.
No,
I've actually got no problem with him. I actually upvoted him on Steam.
Yeah, fuck you.
You and Rowan have been so fun to play with on that topic.
I hate you so much.
Same thing as I tweaked your rage when I said I was downvoting Wrecked.
Rack. First of all, get the title right. And secondly, I don't want you tweaking my rage. Or maybe I do.
Oh, yeah.
Sexually. That's
One of the big games I'm looking forward to coming up is this Child of Light.
Yeah,
I've liked what I've seen about it, and I'm really looking forward to it.
we've talked about it before. It's Ubisoft's an RPG by Ubisoft that
Yep.
looks like it's very visual and stylistic, and yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that as well. What else is coming out this year? Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. I don't have a Wii U yet, but I'm looking forward to
Probably
that game.
never will.
Hoping that it's a strong contender for a good Donkey Kong game. Sentences, words, don't know how to put them together in any good way whatsoever.
Speaking of the Wii U, DS games played on the Wii U pad.
But just DS titles, not 3DS titles.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Well, I've been thinking about that, and it's stupid that you can't already buy DS games on your 3DS when we come back to the couch.
Well, I was listening to Super Best Friend Cast on the way here, and the particular episode, it was one of the older episodes, I think. Pat and Liam were talking about what they would do for Nintendo's next console, next portable. And they both argued that they would make the portable and the console one and the same. Pat argued for a portable console that had HDMI out and could output to TV, and Liam argued for two consoles, a TV console and a portable console, where all games were compatible with both, and you buy one game and they appear on both. Now, when I was listening to this, Pat's suggestion especially sounds exactly like the NVIDIA Shield. Part of why I really like the NVIDIA Shield and why I bought one is because I could play games at 720p on its own screen, or I can plug in a mini HDMI cable, and I can play on 1080p on my television, and I have access to the Play Store and everything. If Nintendo's next console was like the NVIDIA Shield, and because Pat and Liam's reasoning was that, since Nintendo rules the portable market, and especially since they seem to have recovered the slump they were in with the 3DS, why not be known for the portable market with the TV as a side option, right? And I think that's a fairly good idea. And that whole DS games on your Wii U kind of reminded me of that.
Well, and it got me thinking that I've been looking at getting a bunch of DS games for my 3DS. But a couple of the older ones that I want to replay / re-get are some of the ones that are so freaking expensive to find now, it just makes it stupid to do so.
Mm-hmm.
I want to support these games, but I'd rather just hook up my DS and get a pirate cart at this point, because I'm not going to spend $80 on Dragon Quest IV, for instance. Which is kind of stupid, seeing as I can find The World Ends With You, or, Dragon Quest IX for like $13 and $20. I then started to think, well, can't I just buy these digitally for the 3DS? And no, you can't.
And what's so stupid about Nintendo is now that you can buy DS games on your Wii U, they're still not going to let you buy them on your stupid 3DS.
No, they're not.
It's so stupid. The virtual consoles are separate.
Well, and it's not just that. Nintendo's digital marketplace, the virtual console, everything is so short-sighted.
It is.
As always.
It should be. Friend of the show Shane has suggested this before, and I agree entirely. It should be a subscription service. You pay $8 a month or something, and you get access to Nintendo's catalog on their own systems.
Sort of like what Sony now is turning out to become.
Sure. That would be instant buy-in.
Hey, for old SNES and NES games, yeah, I'd do a subscription service.
It would be like the WWE Network, but for NES games. I did look it up, by the way. Yeah, WWE's not coming off a TV.
Their original thing was that they were, but reading further into it, more information came out that they weren't.
Sure.
Which is good.
Sure.
I'm kind of out of topics right now. Stay tuned for a new podcast coming from us where we watch first and maybe second episodes of certain animes.
That's not going to be a podcast. And we did talk about it last time.
Did we?
Yeah, we've already recorded a couple episodes of this new show. It's just that I have to post-edit them in a certain way, and probably going to run it by you before I put it up, and then we'll...
I'm thinking about getting into helping out with the editing as well for some things.
I don't mind doing it. I like doing it because I'm a control freak, and I like having that control, right? I'm a control freak. I edit everything, and you feed me soda when I'm over, so...
Fair enough.
It's a good trade-off.
Anyway, but yeah, no, stay tuned for that. It is going to come out here eventually, especially if we talked about it in the last podcast. I had forgotten that we had because I never listened to these after the fact.
Yeah, I know. I know you don't.
But yeah, we're...
you realize I could be doing the worst things with this.
Based on people's comments, not so much.
Oh, don't butter me up with your...
Hey,
with your butter. Don't give me a stick of butter to placate me. Oh. I will be
worst comment we've gotten in a long time was that some of my sentences weren't coherent.
Yes. Let's do some shout-outs. Friend of the show. We'll call you all friends of the show, because why the fuck not? Chris Weston, he's been listening to us for a long time. He's often given us comments via Google Plus and whatnot. He recently put out a book in ebook format called The Dragon's Tear. I recommend it. It's recently been price discounted to be $2.99.
Huh.
Fantasy style book. I'm partway through it. I like what I'm reading so far.
Cool. As a side note, if they're of our no longer 2 listeners, maybe 5 or 10.
5 or 10 listeners.
If you have any anime you want us to watch in either subtitled or in English dubbed format, let us know. I mean, the first one that we did, what may turn out to be episode 2 in this case, Steins Gate, was our first little attempt. We're still working out some of the kinks and how we're going to record it and actually edit things together.
Hopefully in a way that doesn't get us copyright stricken.
Not that we really... If they want to make money off of one of our videos, we'll pull it.
Yeah. So shoutouts to Chris Weston, as I mentioned, at Wes_tons. Shoutouts to Illy at Illymaniac on Twitter. He's someone I met through the Blackboard, which is an aspiring screenwriters hangout forum type of thing. He gave us feedback a while back that talked about how crazy ridiculous next gen console prices are in Brazil. We've already talked about that particular topic though. And the shoutouts to the one feedback we got about your sentences that was from Twitter. I should really have been prepped. At Meowth900. She basically said, look, that Dave asshole has no good sentences. And I'm adding the venom to that.
Yeah.
And I suspect it's because, sometimes you use is instead of are and whatnot. But to be honest, I'm actually a professional copywriter, and my sentences on this podcast aren't really the stuff of high English, right? So, because we're just kind of shooting from the hip.
Yeah, we don't plan out a lot of things besides some of the topics.
But you have said you will strive for greater clarity regardless.
I do try.
Because Dave loves his feedback.
I do.
Yeah, loves feedback.
Look forward to it.
Yes.
Plus and minus.
plus and minus feedback.
Positive and
I look
negative.
forward to all the plus feedback that you will send to us. In the meantime, this has been Carlitos.
And Dave.
Signing off on episode 42. Episode 42!
No. Map to
You are the worst.
episode 2.
You don't know order. You don't know chaos. You don't know anything.
I am chaos.
You are chaos, actually. You are the embodiment of it.
So, episode 2, map 2.
Yeah. Episode
Signing
42, signing off. The correct numbering order as
Nope.
determined by me, because I'm the guy.
Our fans
Our
and
fa-
myself have decided that we're going to the new structure.
That's going to change anything.
So, if you've liked what you heard, you want to leave us some feedback, you want to give us some criticism, whatever, our podcast site is tfgtg.blogspot.com, where you can also find the feed link and our YouTube channel.
You can also find us on Twitter at TFGTG. Yeah.
All right.
There's no way to continue that. So
There's no way to continue that sentence.
please leave us some feedback. We accept good and bad. We will usually respond, seeing as we have such a small group.
We do have thousands of millions of followers, so we might not respond to you right away.
Sure, let's go with that.